Welcome to my desk, Agent Wilson. So, one thing that I've been realizing that I've been in a lot of different chairs, and I've worn a lot of different hats, and in spite of like the chairs I've been in or the hats I've been in, like for instance, I've been in I went to college. I was sitting in a college chair. Um, I was in the military. I was in the military chair. Um, I was in a wholesaling chair when I was doing wholesaling real estate. And one thing I've been needing to come to terms with is sitting down. Right. So Charlie Munger says that Warren Buffett makes most of his money by just sitting on his hands. And I'm like, what? For me, so for someone like me, I realize I have an active type of temperament. Like I want to be outside. I want to be running around and playing with my friends, or just really just being outside, fresh air, all that type of stuff, in nature, connecting with nature. And I can bring that inside by having some indoor plants, like some indoor bonsai, or yeah. So it's probably what I should do. However, the thing about it is, like when you're like right now, I'm at my desk. I'm sitting at my desk, and I've got all these like this type of paper, right? So it's all about paper, generating paper and paperwork. That's where that's where the money comes from, because money is paper, and then you have your paper that you take notes on, and it's not a coincidence that a mortgage on a home is called a mortgage note, because they're notating, and that's what you can create at your desk. So the issue is, I've been trying to go from desk to desk, or really just to try to find a way to balance being outside back versus being at my desk. And I realized, like, whenever you're at your desk, you're teaching yourself. Like whatever you're focused on is what your focus is on. So since you have to go through courses, like, in school, you go through a course to learn, at a certain point, you start deciding which courses you're going to challenge yourself with. And as you go through those courses, that leads to you taking notes, you applying it in your life, and then you getting the compensation for taking the course, which is either more skills or more money or more achievements. And so at the long and the short part of it is, more money is made sitting down and taking notes and making notations at your desk than it is not, right? So like, then it is like, oh, just being out. And that doesn't mean like, oh, you're not talking with people, because that's a meeting, right? Talking with people is a meeting. So it's like, for instance, like the way this is organized, I'm on this side of the table, you're in front of me, like, so we're having a meeting of sorts. So that's essentially the same thing, because you're usually meeting over a specific topic or over something. So it's just really, like, there is some frustration, which I can use, like, I can go exercise to get that frustration out of being desk bound. However, all the rewards that I desire come from being desk bound. Unless it's like some type of like skydiving or something, right? Like, you can't do that behind the desk. However, I remember this quote from my math teacher, real cool lady in high school. Again, she also had a desk. I was a student, I had a desk. She was the teacher, and she had a desk. And that quote was that I think her dad was like a helicopter pilot. And he was really downtrodden that they gave him a desk assignment, like a office assignment. Whereas, so he would basically, instead of him flying a helicopter, now he gets to fly a desk. And so I was like, I really had to think about that, because he wanted the action of being behind the cockpit, flying a helicopter, and everything that comes with that. And I'm realizing that the adventure is at the desk. The action is in the field, but the adventure, which is, taking you through the scenes, taking you through the settings, and is a part of the journey more so than like the action scenes, is what's important, because life is a journey and it's an adventurous journey. However, there's no such thing as like, they are, but they're just like very short lived and they're not well done, where it's like a movie or a play. It's just all action, action, action. It's just like action scene to action scene to action scene to action scene to action scene. It's like, where's the development? The development happens through the adventure. And that's the same thing with these desks and the courses that I'm able to go through on my, I guess on my own, not really on my own, but go through because of my passion has led me to these courses to keep continuing along the journey. So that's just really something like I've been pondering, like, no matter if I was in the military, I was talking about doing the real estate and buying buying investment properties and buying houses and building a portfolio. Well, I kid you not, a portfolio is just a folder of documents and paperwork. So like you said, I'm building a portfolio. That's like me pulling out like It's like me pulling out a fold. This is a portfolio, right? I even have this one labeled. This one's called Stuff I Own, right? So it's like, this is my, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just me allocating paperwork and research on a continual day-to-day basis. And the value that I get from that research and that paperwork is what makes up the companies, right? I have a tweet where it's like, my company is just an index in my portfolio, or it's just a file in my filing cabinet. Like, because everything is, I kid you not, everything that's important is recorded. So since it's recorded, it can be retrieved. And since it can be retrieved, it can be re-recorded into another filing system or another system. So for me to be able to say, like, I'm taking notes, I'm recording those notes, and then I'm filing those into my system, or I'm formatting them into a book, however I choose. So like the notes that I take can be reformatted into other products or processes or procedures or a portfolio. Just think of all those P words, right? There's a reason for that. So the thing is just to be able to say, like, just keep producing more documents, more research, and just going through the research, and then becoming comfortable with researching and documenting and processing. And that's a little bit different from the unknown of the action. Like with this research, with this studying, I know what's going to happen next. I'm going to keep studying and I'm going to keep researching. And yes, the content will change. But the process that I'm going through, again, the process that I'm going through is the same process. So inside of that, I have to find more, it seems like I should be drawn towards the content more so than the process, and then align my values with what is the content and is it getting me closer to, I guess, the context of the life I'm building. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm building each, instead of it being by bricks, it's by layers of paper. It's going to like layers and layers of paper. It's going to be what builds my empire. So that's just something for me to just keep in mind. The other thing is, people who have like content companies or any type of company that generates anything, it's being able to leverage other people to continually generate documents or code or words or content underneath your umbrella. Or like for instance, as a broker, people will generate the closing documents and the contracts and the agreements under my license. And that's what's going to grow my company, is more people generating more paperwork. That's like, I mean, and at the end of the day, it's like, yeah, people can do more sales, but even the sales itself is a resource in the training library. So it's another document to be utilized. So that's like, there really is there's actually a lot more power behind the desk sitting down than there is taking a lot of action. Because it's like almost no risk. You can just continually research and continue to research. And that just, it's just, the thing is, it's potential, right? It's potential until it's realized. And so for a lot of people like myself, if you have a short attention span, that becomes very difficult, because if you're not realizing something, then you want to go out into quote unquote reality and realize things in reality. Whereas if you just understand that this is the real reality because it's a recording, reality, it's just a different form, right? It's called I almost think of like it's a recording because it's a cord. And a cord means it's attached to, like, like a cord of string or cord of wood. It's attached to everything else. So I'm gonna just keep these thoughts in my mind when it comes to me operating behind the desk, and I'm having access, like I have access to the internet, and I have access to the books that I have in front of me. I have access to my own personal files. Really, the goal at the end of the day is to grow my personal files. I mean, that's not a goal, but like the personal files or the company's files are assets to my name. So yeah, it's just keep that in mind, because like those personal files and thing, like same thing with videos like this, or even like documents, right? Like to grow my accounts. Like, I'm talking, there are people, oh yeah, I got like my account is like, I got like 10 figures, or I got 9 figures in my account, 10 figures in my account. It's like I have a corresponding amount of valuable assets and files that go with the accounts. So that's just what I'll continue to do, because that is what the adventure is, right? The adventure is keeping an account, growing my accounts, growing my files and resources. So that's just this is me basically like selling myself on why at a certain point, even as an agent, I will work so much and produce so much that I will still come back to my desk to collate, to organize the information. And then I'll bring in people who will be like, they'll be sitting in my office, and I'll be like, yay, this is what we got to do. I'll put some chairs in here or something. I'll put chairs and a couch and maybe like 2 tables and some plants. And I'll continue along the path of just like, of doing that. And even though there's like an adventure unknown, I'm sorry, there's action, unknown action outside. The real adventure is behind the desk, because I am the author of the story, because I'm the one taking the notes. And I think as Benjamin Franklin says, you either have to be important enough for others to write about you, or you must write about yourself. You must write your own story. And the notes that I take are what my story is. So I'll continue to do that, and I'll continue to be that. Shout out Ben Franklin. Yeah, this is just like, reading and writing. Fundamental. So, these are my thoughts recorded. Farewell.